Thank you for joining us at the Blackstone LaunchPad Annual Student Entrepreneur Pitch Competition at Startup Grind's Global Conference. We are happy to have you here and so glad to offer you the chance to learn about some of the tremendous student entrepreneurs from our 30 LaunchPad network schools. I am Marcus Felder, a vice president on Blackstone's portfolio operations team. I oversee Career Pathways, a new pilot program designed to create employment opportunities and career mobility at our portfolio companies for people from under-resourced communities, starting in the US and Europe. As a bit of introduction and background to the LaunchPad network and today's competition, recognizing that students today will drive the economy of the future, the Blackstone Charitable Foundation has supported entrepreneurs since its inception. For more than 10 years, Blackstone LaunchPad has been working with colleges and universities and their students around the US and the world with an aim of fostering an interest in entrepreneurship, cultivating entrepreneurial skills, and providing access to resources, networks, and opportunities otherwise not available. Today, we have 30 schools in this network, making the benefits of the LaunchPad network accessible to 900,000 students annually. Recently, the Blackstone Charitable Foundation announced a gift of $40 million to expand this network from 30 to 75 campuses over the next 5 years, with a focus on college university campuses with majority diverse populations or those that are serving under-resourced communities. Along with new expanded recruiting and hiring practices, career pathways, and our LaunchPad expansion, we aim to increase diversity across the Blackstone network, within the firm, across our portfolio, and within our local communities. One of the signature programs of the LaunchPad network is an annual conference and pitch competition. While the pandemic has affected how we conduct this competition, we are proud to be partnered with Startup Grind this year to give our student founders even broader exposure. Today, we will hear from 8 student teams pursuing a wide range of entrepreneurial ideas. The 8 finalists represent 8 different schools and range in industry, size, and geography, from a Texas nonprofit pairing students with seniors, to a New York-based AR startup, to improving operating room usage, and a tea manufacturer utilizing Florida-native Yaupon holly. Over the course of the next hour, we'll watch these students' pre-recorded pitch videos and then move on to a quick Q&A with our 3 illustrious judges. The winners will be announced Thursday, February 25th at 11:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the main stage. At this point, I'd like to bring on our 3 judges and have them give a brief self-introduction.
Hello. I'll start. My name is Brian Breckine. I'm the general partner of Lightship Capital. Lightship Capital is a venture capital fund focused on women and minorities in the Midwest and South. We're a $50 million fund trying to find the next great minds of tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Christine Fang. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here. I joined Blackstone last summer on their strategic kind of opportunistic investment platform called Blackstone Tactical Opportunities, largely focused on investing in tech companies. I also work closely with Blackstone Credit in financing tech companies as well. Over the last 10 years or so, I spent time on the corporate development side, most recently at Amazon Web Services, and before that at Microsoft. Earlier in my career, I spent some time in investment banking and private equity, so it's fun to come full circle and get back to the investing side, especially as we think about empowering tech companies around the world and helping them scale through Blackstone.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Cohen. Really excited to be here again, back at the Blackstone LaunchPad. I am one of the co-founders and chairman at Techstars, which is the worldwide network that helps entrepreneurs succeed. We have funded about 2,300 startups through our accelerator platform, and so far found about 15 unicorns. So looking forward to finding another 1 or 2 here today.
Thank you so much to all 3 of you for joining us and sharing your insight and experience in hearing entrepreneurs pitch their ideas. Now, without further ado, let's get going and bring on our first LaunchPad pitch competition finalist to hear her pitch. Aditi Merchant from the University of Texas at Austin is the co-founder and COO of Big and Mini.
Hi, I'm Aditi, and I'm the co-founder of Big and Mini, a company that creates meaningful, one-on-one connections between young and older adults. Imagine a world where a 71-year-old woman named Carol, who's just lost her family, moves into a nursing home and has nobody to talk to. Now, picture an 18-year-old college freshman, Avery, who came to campus and has struggled to find her place. Both have a similar feeling, loneliness. Now, this isn't hard to imagine because this is the reality for over 200 million Americans, including many of our own loved ones. That's why I co-founded Big and Mini, a platform that connects young adults, minis, and older adults, bigs, to combat loneliness and bridge the generation gap. So, how does Big and Mini work? After signing up on our website, our matching algorithm automatically pairs bigs and minis with people with similar interests. When it comes time for their weekly chat, they simply click a link on their dashboard to access the video call. No downloads required. But how do we make money? With organizational software. Senior living communities and schools told us that they needed an easy way to keep track of their members' engagement. So we developed Big and Mini for Organizations, a monthly subscription SaaS platform. In addition to providing engagement metrics and all the standard Big and Mini features, we provide a streamlined call experience, facilitate group activities, and more. To date, we have over 30 paying organizations, including the University of Michigan and Brookdale. We're also working with insurance providers like Humana to make Big and Mini covered benefit under Medicare Advantage. This will not only increase our visibility, but provide millions with access to the connections we provide. Big and Mini is how we brought together Carol and Avery, a Big and Mini match. They've been meeting weekly for the last 9 months, bonding over everything from recipes to Shakespeare. But there's hundreds of more stories like this. Since our founding in April, we've had over 2,500 active users, made over 1,000 matches from all 50 states, and achieved 16% weekly growth. We've also been featured in over 40 media outlets, including the Today Show. The funds from today's pitch will allow us to develop our ambassador program at colleges across the US, contribute to the development of a more accessible Big and Mini mobile app, and fund research to solidify Big and Mini as a benefit. Join us in ending loneliness, one Big and Mini match at a time. Thanks.
Awesome. Welcome, Aditi, and congrats on making it to the final round of this pitch competition. At this point, we'll immediately turn over to our panel of judges to hear their questions for the next 3 minutes.
We're all going to jump in at the same time, Aditi. That's how this is going to work. I'd love to hear a little bit about the sort of two sides of the marketplace, if you will. You've got the bigs and the minis. They're pretty different. For the bigs, are there problems getting them to adopt the technology? And for the minis, is it cool to do this?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So on the side of the bigs, one of the big key components that we've taken in our platform is making sure that the platform is accessible to people of all ages. So that includes doing things like making our own video call platform. So you click a link in the dashboard and it automatically pops up in browser, and you click the X and it's back to the dashboard. And along with that, we have tons of training available for bigs and minis that they go through at the beginning to make sure that everyone is really accustomed to the technology, regardless of age. And on the side of the minis, it is 100% cool. Intergenerational connection is something that is really profound in our community, and it's something that not a lot of people realize, but a lot of people want to engage in. And you get the opportunity to connect with someone who has this lifetime of experience and is willing to share all of that with you, which is something that's a really unique opportunity that you might not have the opportunity to receive except for Big and Mini.
How do you then think about keeping them on the platform? I'd imagine if you really are successful and you start developing relationships between the big and minis, you could imagine scenarios where they start texting, photos to each other or emailing. I understand maybe there might be technical limitations in terms of how sophisticated they are in technology, but interested in your thoughts just to ensure that a lot of those interactions stay on your platform.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways that we do that. The first being just really making sure that there's always content on the platform that they can access. That's something that they can only get on the platform. So the way that looks like is on the platform itself, before every weekly call, we'll send out like a group of questions that they can talk about and reminders of what they talked about on the last conversation. We'll have basically like almost like a Facebook wall where bigs and minis can share their stories, their experiences, as well as just incorporating a lot of features that they could access outside the platform. So we actually do have chat integrated into the platform itself. The video calls are really simple to use and much more easy than like Zoom. And then we try to make it sure that like any other avenue of connection that they would want to use is there through the Big and Mini platform. So it's a really one-stop shop for everything that they would want.
For me, just want to give you some more time on the intergenerational piece. I think it's really, really important to have those connections as a society. But things like COVID have really robbed us in some cases of all that knowledge. So tell me about the importance to you in these connections.
Yeah, of course. So actually in my high school, when I was in high school, I had just a really great opportunity where I was going and I played flute at senior living communities. And I remember connecting with some of the residents there. And a large part of the reason that I went into like social impact and entrepreneurship is because some of those conversations that they had. And just recognizing the impact that intergenerational relationships had on me when COVID hit and we kind of came up with the idea, really reminded me of my time kind of working in these communities and just the value I had personally gained. And I wanted to bring that to other students as well.
Thank you.
All right, judges. I have to put a stop to questions here. I hate to do it. We've got a lot to get through in just 1 hour. Aditi, thanks so much for responding to our judges, and good luck in the remainder of the competition. I was a flute player myself, so I shout out to flute players.
Thank you so
Next
much. It was
up-
great to be here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Next up, we'll be seeing the pitch video from Cornell student Marla Beyer, co-founder and CEO of Hopscotch.
My name is Marla Beyer, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Hopscotch, a technology company that aims to make pediatric behavioral health care more engaging and accessible for children. Currently, up to 80% of children with a diagnosed behavioral health condition go untreated due to severe provider shortages across the country. Even when a provider is able to see a patient, they still face significant challenges engaging the child outside of the office, involving the family in care, and adopting a data-driven approach to the care delivery process. Hopscotch's software solution includes 3 elements. On the clinician side, they're able to access a software platform which contains a library of interactive and evidence-based exercises for in and out of session use. The parent is able to coordinate and manage appointments, and the child is able to access a separate area where they can view any follow-up activities or resources that have been assigned to them by their provider. Our business model is twofold. Clinicians pay us a monthly subscription fee for access to the platform. We ultimately intend to integrate with healthcare insurers who are looking to expand access to pediatric behavioral healthcare services. Having launched 2 weeks ago, we currently have over 1,000 active clinician users on the platform and are in discussions with multiple children's hospitals. Before business school at Cornell, I worked at a children's hospital in Buffalo where I was involved in coordinating and managing NIH-funded clinical trials in the pediatric behavioral healthcare space.
Wow, really impressive stuff. That was terrific, Marla. Great job on your pitch, and welcome to the LaunchPad competition finals. Judges, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Over to you, judges.
Maybe I can chime in. Marla, great idea. I'm actually wondering what might prevent other larger hospitals or organizations or really digital health providers from doing the same thing. It sounds like you might have a head start here, but is there something you can describe in terms of how you are uniquely addressing this need?
Yeah, definitely. So we've spoken to, where we began was conducting over 250 interviews with pediatric behavioral health clinicians working across private practice, group practice, and hospital systems to learn about the current intervention toolkit that they traditionally used. And what we learned is that currently providers are using paper-based worksheets or handouts primarily to engage their patients out of the office or verbally describing exercises and interventions. If they are using technology-enabled tools, they're not able to meaningfully track the data across appointments and see what is resonating with their patients. And a lot of the solutions on the market are point solutions. So one specific meditation app or one cognitive behavioral therapy app for a very specific age range. And so through speaking to so many providers, we were able to source a wide number of interventions across condition types, age ranges, and consolidate that into one centralized content library that providers are able to select and choose from to plug and play interventions for their specific patient population, rather than having to access point solutions across the market, which make it very difficult for these clinicians given that they have such limited time.
Marla, Love what you're doing. One thing I'd like to understand, the 1,000 clinicians that jumped on it right away. What's the go-to-market strategy? It sounds like it's going well, but how do you get this into the market from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. So initially we connected with a clinician influencer who runs a Facebook group of over 30,000 clinicians. We brought her on our team and she helped refine our messaging strategy in order to communicate with these clinicians. From there, we had multiple other pediatric behavioral health clinician influencers reach out to us and ask if they could also help promote hopscotch. And so initially we're working with these clinicians to try and gather as much data as we possibly can to show the efficacy of the product. And we're ultimately looking to integrate with larger hospital systems and health insurers, taking the data that we're aggregating across clinicians and patients we're currently working with in this initial phase.
Thanks.
Awesome. We're going to move right along. Marla, thanks again for joining us in this final round, and good luck to you in the remainder of the competition.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here.
Okay, for our third finalist, we'll be hearing from University at Buffalo student founder Ryan Young with AI startup Apollo Technologies.
Hello, my name is Ryan Young. I'm an MD MBA candidate at the Jacobs School of Medicine in Buffalo, New York. I'm also founder and CEO of Apollo Technologies. The size of the US healthcare industry is approximately $3 trillion, yet is estimated up to $1 trillion is lost due to inefficiency. I have been in operating rooms in healthcare facilities across Western New York, where I've witnessed this firsthand. I have seen that healthcare facilities have access to a large wealth of data, which should be leveraged to improve operating logistics. Apollo is a cloud-based AI platform which learns from a wide range of healthcare data to optimize high revenue items, ensuring better utilization of fixed assets to unlock the operating room's latent potential. Our preliminary AI performance results indicate approximately $300 in savings per surgery as compared to industry standard forecasting methods. This is approximately $14.4 billion in savings potential alone. Surgery centers will feel confident thanks to a monthly subscription, risk-sharing revenue model, wherein Apollo takes a percentage of the cost savings, reducing pressure to spend in an industry where margins are tight and sales cycles are historically variable. Our scalable platform creates a new market for surgical scheduling time slots, giving health insurance companies the opportunity to dispatch patients from expensive healthcare facilities to high-quality, low-cost facilities. With the support of investment partners such as Blackstone and Techstars, we can also advance the cash flow cycle between providers and payers, thus disrupting the working capital model and increasing their profitability. We are in talks for a pilot this year at the largest healthcare system in Western New York. Our team of machine learning, software engineering, and sales and marketing experts are ready to help the healthcare facilities reduce inefficiency, increase cash flow velocity, and provide working management solutions. Invest in Apollo today and see how better forecasts lead to better ops. Thank you.
Great. And responding to questions from our judges for this finalist, Ryan is joined by his teammate, Anders Rosen. Welcome to both of you. Once again, now we'll move immediately on to our judging panel Q&A.
Ryan, first of all, very smart to completely change your hair between this now and then. So you might pull attention. I'm like, wow.
Made a visit to the barber.
Great job. Without sharing too much special sauce, tell me a little bit about the AI component of your platform, kind of where these data sets are coming from and what you're kind of learning from the results.
Yeah, so we're pulling data actually from the EMR system itself. The idea is that we're still in between whether we want to use a deep neural network, which is what my original design was, versus a machine learning like a XGBoost, something like that. But most important thing is really the pilot at the facility to then really solidify what exactly will be the design moving forward.
I'll let the other judges go, but I count myself. Machine learning gets you to market faster. Neural network long term will give you differentiated results, but I'll let you guys.
Maybe adding to Brian's question, a lot of times, or large kind of machine learning models tend to get more accurate over time based on the amount of training data you have access to. And so you had mentioned taking data directly from the EMRs. What do you think would kind of prevent other hospitals, clinicians, or even EMR providers themselves from accessing the same amount of data, largely than being able to replicate what you've done?
So that actually takes into account our overall business model. The idea is that by making these facilities more efficient, it's going to free up additional time slots. we're going to couple that with what's called the Apollo Exchange, with the idea is that, hey, now healthcare facilities, you can now offer those additional time slots to the health insurance companies. To date, C-suite at Anthem is aware of what we're working on, as well as we've already been engaging with one of the directors of emerging technology at Humana as well, with the idea that we're going to help also drive these facilities revenue growth. And an EMR company, they're only going to be able to see the customers that they actually have. We're actually have that much more broader sense.
So just following on that, I mean, maybe it's a bit of an old school mindset, but I always thought of a hospital as somewhat of an inefficient place. I'm guessing you agree, where the longer stays led to higher revenues. So help me reconcile that. How does helping it be more efficient actually help them economically as well?
Well, actually, our first go-to market is to go to the surgery centers. So in that case, surgery centers are looking to just move patients in and out as quickly as possible. They're also looking to achieve higher revenue by having more surgeries. And I think Ryan can attest a little bit more as to how that connects as well to the Apollo Exchange.
Yeah. The idea is that these ambulatory surgery centers, they're looking to get a lot of surgeries done very, very quickly. To that point, again, even if we're not necessarily making any money off of the Apollo model where we take the cost savings, we charge the health insurance companies who want to find these efficient, high quality, low cost facilities a percentage of a commission fee.
Got it.
And that's our time for Apollo's Q&A. Ryan and Anders, thank you for your thoughtful responses. Judges, thank you for your great question. Ryan and Anders, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for the platform it's Techstars has provided. Thank you.
For our fourth team, we'll be hearing from Achala Rao, co-founder of Fixed Systems, a startup from UC Davis.
Have you ever bought a fish tank, put some really nice fish in it, and then had to leave for a trip? I have, and when I came back, I found all my pretty fish dead in a tank full of algae. Now this happened because the conditions of the tank weren't monitored closely. And much like a fish tank, a bioreactor is a vessel that's used to grow living things like your COVID vaccine and beer, which collectively makes up the biomanufacturing industry. Bioreactors are critical equipment, and when they aren't monitored closely, everything inside dies. Today, outdated monitoring causes a $14 billion annual loss of life-saving medication. But the current industry solution is to just bring on-call workers to check these monitors. Even yet, 20% of all bioreactor runs fail. My name is Achala Rao, and I'm the CSO of Fixed, the company that will disrupt this $280 billion biomanufacturing market with our smart monitoring system. Our primary target is the biopharma market. Our hardware connects to users' existing equipment and feeds data to our specialized machine learning algorithms that can prevent batch failure. Preliminary tests have shown that we can reduce that $14 billion in losses by 25%. But that's just the beginning. For us, the data is the gold in our long-term strategy. Using the data we're already collecting, we can expand our offerings to optimize yield, reduce waste, and make our customers millions. We make money from the hardware, but our primary source of revenue is the recurring software licenses. An average drug batch ranges between $300,000 to $1 million, meaning a single avoided drug batch is enough to justify the need for Fixed. Our team has 50 plus years of relevant experience, and we're piloting our proof of concept system with the Better Meat Co. We're looking to raise $750,000 to build partnerships with 5 industry giants like Pfizer, Merck, and Lonza. This money will put us on track to save the world one vaccine at a time. Thank you.
Well, I can't think of a more important time for a startup that helps improve vaccine production. That was a great pitch, Achala. Welcome to you and your teammate, Evan Sellen, to the LaunchPad Pitch Finals. Judges, your 3 minutes for questions begin now.
So I thought we were going to help the fish when we started, but I'm glad it's much bigger than that. My fish needs some help, by the way. Anyway, the hardware component you said was the sort of smaller piece of the pie, so to speak, long term. Have you thought about that being done by a third party? Because it's going to be an expensive aspect of what you do, especially on a smaller round, $750,000. Is that something you have to build, and how do you see that evolving over time?
Great question. I think Evan is very equipped to handle this.
Yes. So our first thing is, so one of the really annoying issues about getting software to be part of the biomanufacturing industry is the fact that currently there aren't really good devices for that software to run on. So we sort of have to bootstrap ourselves. But in the future, yes, 100% we would partner with existing hardware manufacturers. But for the first part, we can't quite do that. And to solve that, we're just using very off-the-shelf components, making it completely cheaply, and ultimately the price of producing hardware is a lot lower than we expect to make from software anyways, so it's not too big of an issue.
As you begin scaling your business, I imagine the processes as it relates to various vaccines and drug discoveries are very different. And so how do you, like, what are some of the first few metrics or data points that you're focused on collecting? And then as you then grow, how do you then ensure that you can adjust that accordingly based on what I imagine are varying specifications, on a case-by-case basis?
Great question. Thank you. So originally we're going to be focusing on equipment failure, and that's pretty uniform, right? Whether it's Genentech or it's Budweiser, they all face equipment failure. And so by gathering and solving equipment failure, we can collect all the data that we need to launch our biological forecasting model in 2024. And so we would be able to target and have very customized solutions on a company basis.
And on that, just that first step, that equipment failure step, how big a problem do you think that first problem is before you get to the larger opportunity?
Yeah, equipment failure itself causes a $14 billion annual loss. So it's a pretty big chunk of the market. It's not small potatoes, and we would be able to handle that with our device. And then with the biological forecasting, we can go in, find patterns in the data, and solve problems our users didn't even know existed.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Achala and Evan, and good luck to you. We are halfway through our 8 finalists. How's everybody feeling? I know these Zoom meetings can wear you down a little bit. If you're watching and needing a break, maybe try standing up, shaking it off, and get ready, because we're not stopping here. We're gonna keep on moving forward. And so next up, we're gonna have Shemi Cole and Jake Tibby, UC Riverside students, pitching their AI-based startup, Saru Recycling.
Hi, my name is Shemi Cole, and I'm joined by Jacob Tivy, and today we'd like to introduce Saru Recycling, a clean tech startup that builds autonomous, solar-powered units that reinvent the way we think about our waste. The global waste management industry is currently experiencing a crisis. Every year we produce 500 million tons of solid waste, with only a small fraction being recycled. This deficit is widening every year due to rising labor costs, extreme contamination, and a lack of quality data. For campuses, taking out the trash is costly and inefficient. For everyday people, recycling is a chore. If we want to fight climate change and make it cost-effective, we need to give users and firms a better solution. Introducing Saru. We build collection units that use AI to sort waste, logging more data than ever before, and giving users more benefits for recycling. Saru units can be placed anywhere, notifying hosts when it's full, and tracking diversion rate data in real time. Our hardware units are integrated with our host management platform and user mobile app. Users can walk up to the bin, throw something away, and instantly receive funds and rewards to their PayPal or bank account.
So how does it work? Hosts lease the unit as an appliance, gaining their venue and their customers its additional benefits. When an item is placed in the unit, we take a picture, and we plug this picture into our algorithm to assign a probability that it's a can, bottle, food waste, or anything else. This allows us to sort waste at the point of disposal and instantly grant rewards to our users. In the modern movement for carbon neutrality, handling waste responsibly has never been more relevant. The smart waste management industry is growing fast, with a compound annual growth rate of nearly 17%. As a first mover to combine the benefits of recycling with utilities, we can enter the industry at venues ranging from cities and college campuses to amusement parks and restaurants. Our traction thus far has also been promising, as we've secured corporate sponsorships from solar companies and manufacturers alike. Our team has also been sponsored by local endorsements and will be on the ground in California later this month. Our team believes in the power of fighting climate change through optimized waste management. By changing the way individuals and firms relate to their waste, we aim to reimagine recycling for the modern world.
Shemi and Jake, watching your pitch video, looking at the weather in the background, I'm sure a lot of us can use some of that warmth around the country. Regardless, great job and congrats on reaching the finals. Judges, I'll turn over to you. Your 3 minutes of questions begin now.
I'm going to leave with the AI stuff again. Counting myself. I have a question about the machine learning or the AI around identifying the item. Are you building that? Are you purchasing that to start? And what is your, because there's so many different item types, right? So how do you kind of get all of those things into the model?
Well, Brian, that's an excellent question. We've actually been developing our own model in-house, and we've been achieving some great accuracy numbers. We initially started with Microsoft Azure to kind of outsource our recognition in order to increase our processing time at scale. But what we're doing now is we're having graduate students and frankly, our CS members work on developing a model that has high accuracy rates for a few key category types. Right now, we're prioritizing beverage containers. That is your glass, aluminum cans, your plastic bottles, and waste, right? And what we have right now is a model that has substantial accuracy ratings with only the ability to iterate at scale. What we're doing is every time someone puts something in our unit, we take a picture, and that is also self-uploaded into the machine learning model that we're developing. So the more questions we get, the more images that we have to process, the more accurate it becomes.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So there's a lot of technology crammed into this local device. And I'd love to hear a little bit of the data you've collected on the desire to actually have this technology. It's pretty different than the way the industry works today. So what data do you have from people that actually want to adopt this whole new way of doing it?
Absolutely. So one of the first things we did was specifically survey folks on our own campus community, right? Because originally SAR was built for college students, being able to give them an opportunity to one, impact the environment, but also make a little change on the side. But obviously our vision has grown, and within those initial surveys, we were able to discover how students want to be able to utilize our device in terms of the earnings from being able to dispose recyclable material into the bin, right? And one of the most valuable things that we learned is that folks are really interested in being able to use their earnings for, charitable causes, right? So being able to get those 5 cents, 10 cents, even 15 cents, and being able to donate it to local charities in the area. We've also started the conversation about potentially connecting to micro investing platforms. So being able to even build like a financial portfolio, as you're putting recyclable material into a bin, right? So just trying to, generate value in terms of inspiring folks to connect with, environmental action.
How about kind of the end customer in that, the person who might be paying for that? I think a lot of what you've shared is actually really interesting from, folks like you and me who might use it. But if it were a waste management company or potentially the college campus paying for your equipment, how do you then think about their willingness to pay?
That's an excellent question, Christine. What we've done is we've made a model where we are servicing the members of a community, but our primary customer is, of course, the firm. It's the campus, it's wherever the unit is located. They're our host. We lease the unit to them as an appliance to add on to their waste management system in order to optimize it. And what we're providing them is reduced waste management cost overall. We're reducing the labor cost by making it entirely autonomous. We sort waste at the point of disposal, which cleans up the stream so there's no contamination later on. And that allows them to get premium rates on the commodities, which they've been so struggling before. And in addition to the data, we have diversion rate tracking in real time. Especially in California, a lot of universities, they care about their percentage of recyclable material. We allow them to calculate that at the second interval, right before the tonnage goes out at the end of the month.
Right. Thank you so much, Jake and Shemi, and good luck to you as part of the competition. We're going to move right along to team number 6. Here we have Max Orozco from USC with his startup Lumium and its first product, Ready Teddy.
MRIs are an intimidating procedure. Now imagine what a kid goes through. Half of all pediatric MRIs are sedated for their scan. This accounts for 2 million kids a year being sedated. This in turn is really a bottleneck for radiology suites and their revenue. Hi, I'm Max Orozco. I'm CEO of Lumium. I'm a neuroscience researcher who uses MRI techniques in pediatrics. Our team of engineers and designers have over 20 years experience in healthcare innovation at companies like Genentech, and our first product, Ready Teddy, is not only making easier MRIs for kids by preparing them for the scan, but informing clinicians which patients can successfully avoid sedation. We are already in Stanford Children's Hospital and Children's Hospital Los Angeles and have customers at the USC Keck School of Medicine. Our data suggests that we can reduce sedation rates by 40%. That's 400,000 kids successfully avoiding sedation a year. This not only improves the patient experience at the hospitals that we partner with, but this equates to $600 million in healthcare expenditures in an already $100 billion imaging marketplace. And our timing could not be better. The FDA is approving new types of interventions that are completely changing the way that we think of healthcare delivery. But the goal of our company is changing finite medical services into scalable and billable products. Since our launch, we've been contacted by radiology streets all around the world. So with the funds from this competition, we're going to ramp up our sales team and pursue our European patent application. Thank you very much for your time, and please join Ready Teddy in making easier MRIs for kids.
Max, really love the focus of your first product on pediatrics. Congratulations on making it to the LaunchPad finals and welcome. Judges, it is time for you to begin your questioning.
Okay, fine, I'll go. It's always like we're looking at each other to figure, because I have 30 questions, I'll just ask one. Help me understand, Max, the scale of the opportunity. I think it relates to the revenue model. How do you charge? How often is it paid for? How big is this market opportunity? And if you have a minute, what's going on in there when they're in the MRI? What's actually happening on the device?
Sure. So let's see, there's 250 children's hospitals, and each one has about 3 or 4 different MRIs in them. So we've really positioned the product to be positioned next to the MRI, so it's really easy to implement. We're charging $500 per unit, and so that's kind of our initial target market. What goes inside the scanner, and the form factor is like actually really important. It's a VR headset. They're exposed to the sights and sounds of the scanner, but because the VR headset measures head motion perfectly, we're using these biofeedback games to train children to stay still and within the threshold of a good scan. So not only is it alleviating their anxiety and fear, but we're kind of ensuring that they have good data for their doctors.
Do you have access from those hospitals once these children have used your device to measure or at least have a notion of how effective they are? And I'm wondering not only how effective, but also can you use that to then complete the feedback loop to then further train your model?
Absolutely. So we have a data sharing clause, and we're submitting our IRB at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We're also working with neuroimaging labs who can't sedate kids for their studies, who are much more likely to sign data sharing agreements. And then the algorithm is based on age, because that's the highest predictor of motion. So our control database is already open data sets through NIH funds. So we're already on our way to building a really effective tool.
You touched on this a little bit, but maybe you could go a little deeper. It's always difficult to sell into hospitals and schools. Those are the two, and some hospitals are schools, right? So how do you think about going to market in this environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our first target sections is neuroimaging laboratories who, again, can't sedate kids. These are often researchers, but also clinicians. So they're kind of like a great entryway into the hospital systems. And then we're definitely targeting Kaiser. So clinicians that have dual positions at Kaiser, because they play both payer and provider. So the incentive to not only like reduce the amount of sedations in their hospitals there, but also they increase their throughput and increase overall revenue. And so that payer provider relationship is perfect for Kaiser as we kind of scale.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Max, and thank you, judges. That's all the time we have for this finalist.
Thank you all.
Next up, Colton Pace and Frank DiCenzo, UCLA students developing a tax reduction software solution for property owners.
Hi, I'm Colton.
And I'm Frank.
We're both graduating MBAs from UCLA Anderson, and we are the co-founders of Real Appeal. Real Appeal is an online software that helps property owners reduce their property taxes. In the US, $23 billion is overpaid in property taxes each year. Property owners can appeal their property taxes to get them reduced, but doing so is cumbersome and time consuming. The process is so broken that over 95% of owners don't do anything and just pay the bill they receive, no questions asked. Real Appeal makes it easier than ever to reduce your property taxes. Property owners can navigate to our website at therealappeal.com and file a tax appeal or exemption in a matter of minutes. There's no upfront cost, and we charge 20% of the savings we achieve. No other provider offers an end-to-end service for both residential and commercial properties at the cost and level of convenience that Real Appeal provides.
We market exclusively to residential and commercial property owners we know we can help save money. To do this, we analyze data across millions of properties and specifically identify the ones that are overvalued for tax purposes or missing valuable exemptions. Thanks to this highly targeted approach, we're already cash flow positive. In our first 6 months, we've represented over $400 million in real estate and achieved a 90% appeal success rate. Based on our current performance, we're going to save our earliest customers over $220,000 on their property taxes, and we're building a playbook to replicate this success nationwide. Saving customers money on property taxes also creates opportunities for cross-selling. We'll make personalized recommendations for refinancing, property insurance, brokerage, and more across the trillion-dollar property service industry. Our customers already ask us for these recommendations. COVID-19 has transformed real estate markets over the last year. Now more than ever, people are looking for ways to save money. And now more than ever, Real Appeal can give property owners the savings that they deserve.
Thank you, Colton and Frank. That was a great pitch, an interesting idea. Judges, the time for questioning begins now.
I suspect none of us like paying taxes, so you're going to have a lot of fans. Question about really got a really good early traction. How were you able to achieve that really so quickly, and what are the things on the roadmap coming up?
Yeah, so one thing that's been really successful for us, like we mentioned in the pitch, is running our algorithm over the data we can get for an entire county and identifying specific addresses for commercial and residential properties that we know we can help save money because we found that they're overassessed. So what we do is we directly target them with postcards like these, where we tell them exactly how much we're going to save them. And it's a really compelling value proposition for them. Aside from that, anytime we appear in public, we get a huge influx of people that are interested and want to learn more. And we see that come through on our website.
So I think there's an enormous amount of sort of low-hanging fruit here, right? Everyone wants to use the product, of course, but my own personal experience is that I get 3 or 4 of those postcards every year, or letters from lawyers typically. How are you planning to really differentiate? Because ultimately it's really just what percentage savings do I expect to get?
There's a few different things here. And one of the aspects is the psychographic profiling. So we know exactly what behaviors, demographics, socioeconomic situations people are in where they respond most frequently. And also, like I said earlier, these are specifically targeted. So this has an individual's name, address, exactly how much we think we can save them. In the future, we think this is a great product to partner with existing platforms, whether it be realtors, real estate providers, the tax preparation services of the world. This is an extra way for them to provide even more value to their existing customers.
I was actually touching on my question exactly, which is, it seems like where the opportunity might be is large owners of real estate. And so if you then think about, kind of owners of, multiple commercial properties, they probably have their own tax accountants already. And so I'm wondering, have you kind of collected feedback there around willingness of those tax preparers to consume and or pay for a service like this, and or even feedback from the property owners themselves around how amenable they might be to, in addition to having their tax accountant, engaging someone like you?
Yeah, so that's actually my background. Prior to business school, I was an asset manager at a real estate fund. I saw the high value properties being done and thought, why can't we bring this down market? And kind of to David's point earlier, the tax accountants and lawyers can't profitably service the down market. So that's where we're starting. And that's why we're automating from end to end as much as we can, both acquiring the customers, crafting the appeal, and then how we interact with the assessors in each geography. And we currently charge 20%, and we know that our customers are willing to pay 50% as they do lawyers. So we think there's a lot of flexibility we can use in the future.
All right. Thank you so much, Colton and Frank, for your responses, and good luck to you. We are moving on to our last team, our last but by no means least. Our eighth and final team hails from the University of Central Florida. Please enjoy the pitch video of Brian and Kyle White and their startup, the Yopon Brothers American Tea Company.
Hi, I'm Kyle White.
And I'm Brian White.
And we're brothers and founders of the Yopon Brothers American Tea Company. We're a company that's working to revolutionize the tea industry while putting Florida farmers back to work. But first, I want to start with a statistic. Did you know that over 150 million Americans drink tea every day, but virtually none of them drink tea that's grown in the U.S.?
Yes, and we're going to change that with Yopon Holly. Yopon Holly is a Florida native plant species that tastes great, has been used as a tea for thousands of years, and is the only naturally caffeinated plant species that occurs on the North American continent. Yopon has applications also not just as a tea, but as a nutraceutical product and a cosmetic ingredient.
Yopon can also be a major disruptor in the $11 billion US tea market, as well as the multi-billion-dollar specialty and local food markets. These markets are also trending towards organic, sustainable, ethical, and American-made products. Only our tea, which is Yopon, can check all of these boxes. We've also gained a lot of traction in our years in business, as we've done over $380,000 in revenue this year alone. We're in 500 stores nationwide, and we've had thousands of orders on Amazon and our website. We're also nationwide at all World Market stores. Our products also been featured in Bon Appetit, NPR, and Atlas Obscura magazines.
So you know we can sell the tea, but is there a viable supply chain? Yes, there is. We have a partnership with a state-of-the-art propagation lab that can help put 400,000 of our trees in the ground every month out to farmers. We also have a research partnership with the University of Florida that is helping to establish Yopon's commercial viability. Yopon offers similar economics to traditional crops here, such as citrus, which has been totally decimated by the citrus greening disease. And we have the absolute best team to make this happen. We're a passionate group of entrepreneurs with experience in plant propagation, farming, finance, and sales and marketing, and we're here to make Yopon a household name.
At the end of the day, we're just a family-owned business that is saving Florida farming through sustainable and native agriculture. We're hoping you'll help us not just build a business here in the state of Florida, but a whole new industry.
Brian and Kyle, it looks like you guys have made some really impressive progress. I'm a new tea drinker, so I definitely have to give this a try. Okay. Congrats on getting this far with both your business and in our LaunchPad pitch competition. Judges, you're on for the final time. Q&A begins now.
So UCF represent, first of all.
Go Knights.
You said it tastes great. I got to take your word for it. What data do you have that it tastes great? Talk to me about, second, third orders, renewals. Talk to me about, subjective testing you've done around the taste.
Well, first of all, from our website, about 40% of our online orders are repeat customers. On top of that, there was actually a blind taste test study that was performed by the University of Florida. Had about 100 participants that are regular yerba mate drinkers. Yerba mate is related to Yopon Holly. And actually, we're not making this up, but 100% of those respondents said they preferred the taste of Yopon over yerba mate. So we do have that data on our side, and we have a very loyal customer base that's a large percentage of them return.
Could you share a little bit more about your expansion plans? Do you have other products in the pipeline, or are you kind of thinking about expansion into different teas or flavors of tea?
Yeah, I mean, we really view Yopon as an ingredient that can be utilized in multiple different formats. For example, there are several emerging beauty products that are coming on the market that contain Yopon. Some of them have our Yopon, some of them have Yopon from other suppliers. We've helped formulate 5 beers that contain Yopon from 5 different breweries here in Florida, and we are currently working on a gin. So there's some expansion into the alcoholic beverages market. We're working on some concepts that are drink additives, so like powders and drops that you would add maybe to a glass of water, for example.
Yeah, Yopon can really be anywhere yerba mate is, which is cosmetics, nutraceuticals, nootropics, and tea. We can really pretty much fit that square anywhere.
Dietary supplements.
I have a question about the narrative. So oftentimes in different liquors, where it comes from seems to matter in that category, and it should be true here as well. So how are you thinking about this storytelling? I see you guys have awesome teas on. I love good merch, but how are you thinking about telling this story to get that consumer thinking about American tea?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think that we really do consider it to be a heritage product. There's 8,000 years of human consumption history here in the United States. Most of that comes from indigenous people. And we've worked really hard to try and encapsulate that message so that people can actually get it. So, that's why we brand it as an American tea, because I really feel like that's a claim that other tea companies cannot make. Like 99.9% of the tea that we drink here, which is 250,000 tons a year, is imported.
Yeah. And because we're completely verticalized, we know where every leaf of tea came from. So we were able to kind of trace back everything. And we actually partnered with a company called DigiFresh that had used the QR code to help us do that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Right. And that's it. Just like that, this hour has really flown by. Thanks, Kyle and Brian. And thanks to all of our student teams. I can't wait to see what our judges decide in terms of our winners. So, what happens now? Well, if you're watching this session and are not one of our judges, I have some good news. We want to find out what you thought as if you were a judge. That's right. For the first time ever in our LaunchPad competition, we're offering a People's Choice Award. To cast your ballot for the favorite team, for your favorite team, please visit www.blackstonelaunchpad.org/vote. Again, that's www.blackstonelaunchpad.org/vote. Voting closes tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time, so don't wait. Finally, on behalf of everyone at Blackstone and the Blackstone Charitable Foundation, I want to extend my thanks again to our students for their time and effort, our incredible judges for their thought-provoking questions, and all of you for choosing to attend this session at the Startup Grind Global Conference. I hope you are leaving this hour as excited as I am about these incredible students and the important work of the Blackstone LaunchPad College Entrepreneurial Network. And don't forget, winners, including the People's Choice Award, will be announced Thursday, February 25th at 11:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the main stage. We'll see you there.